Welcome to day 2 of our conference. Before we get started, just a few notes. So I know some of you did not actually register for the conference, but someone shared the link to the conference with you. We would like, of course, to know who's attending. So we would ask that you go to the reservation page, or the registration page rather, and register for the conference officially. I know that on the webpage it says there was a drop dead date to register, but you can go ahead and ignore the drop dead date. Actually, I think Alan updated that and it now is through today. So please go ahead and register. That would be helpful for us because that way we'll have a full list of everybody who attended. Secondly, when you did register for the conference, you should have received an email from Jeff Nee, and I want to give a shout out to him right now. Jeff works for the Jet Propulsion Lab and is, among other things, responsible for coordinating the river site for the Western Alliance. And those of you who aren't familiar with the Western Alliance, you might want to join. They have a listserv and they have a lot of different presentations that are available to the membership. It's free to join, and it's about formal and informal education. So you might want to look into the Western Alliance. So once again, thanks to Jeff. He's doing a lot of work in the background.
You mean the Museum Alliance, right?
Museum Alliance. I did say Western, didn't I? Thank you, Alan. So Western Alliance Conference on the brain. Okay. So, I have a whole 5 minutes to fill here. So once again, we're using River, R-Y-V-E-R, as a way to encapsulate, rather than using the chat in Zoom, to encapsulate all of our chat comments. And that'll make it searchable and available on the web in a permanent form. So we ask that rather than chatting here on Zoom, you go to the River forum for that. The one exception will be later on today when we break out into the vendor booths, also known as breakout rooms here on Zoom. Then if you want to chat, you'll want to do it with the vendors in the breakout room here on Zoom because we don't quite have it set up for many breakout rooms to get an individual feed on River. Okay, any questions? Any questions?
Give us some information about going to that river site.
Okay. I'll tell you what I'll do. It's hard for me to be the one-armed paper hanger here, but if someone could make my life a little easier, grab the link from the invitation and send it in the Zoom chat. In this case, do it here on Zoom because obviously Keith doesn't have access to that invitation. And what you'll want to do is when you get to the River site, Museum Alliance is what you want to enter, and then you'll enter your own email address and password to get yourself set up. If you didn't get an invitation, it may be that I have to send you a special link. So as soon as I get a break in the action, I'll do that here in the chat area on Zoom.
I probably have that somewhere. I'll go look for it too.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
I have to say your avatar is making me crazy. All right. So weird.
So different, Keith.
So
your hair.
Did I do something to my hair? Just hair products.
Oh, okay. Change your hair products.
Well,
Okay.
as my hair gets longer and longer, of course, it requires more and more hair product. But this is not a beautician conference, so let's move on, Carl.
I was talking about Keith. He looks different somehow.
Well, I don't know what to say. Okay, so we tried to do something different this year for the vendor booths here at the EWAC 2021 conference. I've always been a proponent of more education at conferences. And one of the things, this is kind of my personal take on things, is that because the vendors are so helpful to us at conferences, we of course, and I do mean resources, both financial and otherwise, we always try to carve out vendor time at the conferences. But as an educator, I really come to the conferences to learn more about the educational aspects of our field. And I always find that I'm required to sit through every vendor presentation, but the educational presentations often are happening in parallel, and I don't get to see all of those. So as a idea, I wanted to try a little bit of an experiment. We asked all of the vendors who wanted to participate in the WAC 2021 conference that if they did want to participate, rather than it being a marketing pitch, that they would do an educational presentation. We thought this would be a good way for the vendors to get out in front of the membership, but at the same time, give something back to the industry in terms of helping us with doing what we do, rather than just a kind of a marketing pitch. So what you're going to be seeing today are a number of vendors who step forward who want to do something educational. And then later on, we'll be setting up, as I said, breakout rooms, vendor booths, so that you can go visit individual vendors. And you can, of course, have any kind of conversation you want with them individually.